my name is Alice Thomas, and welcome to This Is My Story. We have two fantastic guests for you today. On This Is My Story, we have Mr. and Mrs. Roulack with I Am Drug Free Ministry. We also have Ricky Bradford, aka Two Crunk for Jesus, with Jesus Boys Movement Ministry. So don't go anywhere because you don't want to miss this show. We'll be right back. And we're back, and welcome to This Is My Story. We have two fantastic guests for you today. Our first guest that we have here is Mr. and Mrs. Roulack from I Am Drug Free Ministry. I've been keeping up with them, and they are doing a fantastic job here in the Houston area, helping children to stay off drugs. Mr. Roulack, would you tell us a little bit about I Am Drug Free Ministry?
I'll be more than happy to, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you.
First of all, we want to thank you for allowing us to come onto your program.
Of course.
Thank
We
you.
count it such an honor to be here, and we just pray that everyone that's seeing this recording will allow what we say to them to sink into their hearts so that they can develop a relationship not only with the I Am Drug Free program, but with their own children, because it's important that we reach out to them. And this is my lovely wife, Jan Roulack.
Hello.
Hello, Jan.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great.
I'm so happy to be here today.
I am happy that you guys are here. I know you were supposed to be here about a month ago, but we had to get some things together. But you're here now.
Yes.
And consider this your home because you all will be coming back next month also.
Wonderful.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
We just feel like this is something that was ordained literally by God. Just to kind of give you a background history of what the I Am Drug Free program is all about. I was delivered from crack cocaine September the 13th, 1991. And since then, I've been free ever since. I actually thought that I was going to go out to the adult community, which we did, and lay hands on the adult community and see them get delivered. But God had a different plan. His plan was for me to actually go to the youth, the young people between the ages of 5 to 13, and reward them for being drug-free, for simply being drug-free. You don't have to be academia. You don't have to be in sports, the best football player or basketball player. But as long as you're drug-free, we are going to reward you. And then those kids that we might fall into that may have succumbed to drugs and or alcohol, we have outlets that we can refer them to. So we want to make sure we touch bases of the entire community, the entire scope. You might find it interesting that I'm talking about drugs in an age category between 5 and 13. Well, believe it or not, that's where it starts. It starts between that age group. They form their psyches right then and there. And this is what God showed us, and this is why he put us in that age group. So the purpose of the program is to just put something in their hands, more than just saying no, which that program was great. The DARE program, all of those programs was great. So what we're doing is we're enhancing what those programs has already started by giving rewards to kids so that they can have something tangible in their hands for their future, for whenever the drug dealer comes up and try to, get them involved with drugs and alcohol. We take it very serious what we're doing. Yet, it's called a party. So what we do is we go out to apartment complexes, community centers, and we're looking to go into foster homes as well. And we put on what are called the I Am Drug Free parties, which you're well aware of.
Right.
Now, at these parties, we do a lot of things. We start out by, basically, I give my introduction, and then we allow the kids to get involved with a slogan that we have. One of the things that we found out is when you repeat something enough times, it sticks with you. So we don't just have the kids repeat it. We have them shout it out loud.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, what we'll do is we'll say it loud. And then the kids in turn will say,
I am drug free.
and that's exactly what the slogan is all about. The kids, they get to the point where they really enjoy that. Because first of all, as you can see, she's showing a t-shirt that we give out as a reward. This is our creme de creme, where we literally feel like this is going to be something that's going to have an effect not only on the kids initially, but also in the communities that they go back into, also into their homes, and also into the school system. Because as they wear that t-shirt that says I am, and on the back say drug free, they're making a bold statement themselves that they're drug-free. You might ask, well, why do we do that? The reason is we have done research, statistical research through NIDA, and we found out that there are more kids that are not on drugs than there are that are on drugs.
Yes.
The issue is this. The kids that are on drugs have been historically getting more attention than the kids that are not on drugs.
Okay.
So one of the purposes of the I Am Drug Free program is to turn that around. We call it the positive side of the war on drugs. It may sound like an oxymoron, which it does. But we see the positive side because without influencing the positive, you can't get rid of the negative.
Right.
So what we want to do is bring out these kids that are not on drugs, let them realize that they have value for just not being on drugs, reward them for not being on drugs, and get them in a group of kids that all acknowledge that they're not on drugs. And what we desire to see is more kids getting involved with this, so then they can have associations and peer groups that are saying to themselves, you know what, it's comfortable. It's okay for me to not be on drugs. I'm not by myself. There's a lot of kids just like us that are not on drugs.
That is fantastic.
Yes.
And you also give them gifts, you feed them,
Yes,
you
we
bring
do.
them entertainment, and you give them a Bible so that they have something to read and to reinforce their spiritual soul. How long have you guys been doing this?
Since 1996, God gave us the vision. We are a faith-based agency also, and we are geared up towards going out of the church walls into where the kids are needing us the most, and that's the foster homes, apartment complexes. I want to say deal with at-risk kids, but we don't want to call them at-risk. Amen?
Amen.
Because the Bible says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. So what we're doing, we're imparting knowledge to them, so we're empowering our kids so they won't be at risk. And we're educating them so that they will know the hazards of drugs and drug dealers. Also, we also have speakers come out and speak with the kids about drugs and education, and we just have a good time empowering our kids because we want to let them know that they can be knowledgeable, and this will prevent any and deter any type of drug behavior in their futures.
I noticed that y'all have the sheriff department to come out too and talk to the kids.
Thank God for the sheriff's department.
And I think that's a fantastic idea because when we look at TV, we always see the police running and chasing, and they have a different type of image. So by bringing the police there, they're able to talk and be friendly to the kids and let them know it's okay to talk to us if there's a crisis that comes around.
Yes.
And they do a good job. I mean, they have my attention as an adult.
Yes.
The interesting thing about a police officer when they come out to the parties, they got a gun on their hip. That kind of gets your attention. They have a badge on their chest. They have a taser on their side. I mean, they don't come out in a suit and a tie. They come out dressed in their uniforms, and we love that. We have a relationship practically with every police department in and around the Houston area, and they're very supportive of what we're doing. When we talk to the police officers, what our goal with them is this. We don't want our children to run away from the officers.
Right.
We want them to feel comfortable enough to run to the officers. And until you get to know someone, until you can see them in their natural state, you might be offended because of what you've seen thus far, which goes back to promoting the positive side of the war on drugs. It's true that you need to see the police officer running down the drug dealer and the activity of the police officers, what they're doing. You need to have Scared Straight, where the police officers are bringing you into the school.
Right.
But you have to have a balance in everything. You can't just filter everything negative without having something positive. So we have actually been commissioned by God, we believe, to bring out that positive side of the war on drugs, which is something that we will continually do with our police officers. And not just our police officers, we have various entertainers, but the police officers, they're so special to us. At our parties, the kids actually get an opportunity not only to relate to the police officers and see them and hear them, they can ask them questions.
Right.
We've also had our police officers allow the kids to go out in the cars and actually sit in the cars. We've had police officers handcuff them so they can
Wow.
get a feel of what they don't want to feel. And it's having a great effect, because after the police officer experience, we'll come back into the party and we'll ask the kids, did you enjoy sitting in the car? And they'll say no, they didn't enjoy it.
Especially if you're sitting in the back seat.
Which is what the officers would allow them to do. They turn on the sirens, they let them sit in the back seat. When they first go out there, they're really excited, it's fun, it's enjoyable, but then they get the understanding. And they understand that this is not something that they want to do. And we make sure we emphasize that. And we bring them back in, and the police officers, they might give them badges, they make them junior deputies right then and there. And that gives the kids a sense of being responsible in the neighborhood.
Yes, it does.
You know, and literally, I think some of the kids can go out and say, I'm a junior deputy, you shouldn't be doing drugs. But we're trying to be careful about that, because we don't want them to have any real negative effects. Some of the other things we do, we bring out Christian artists that will perform in music, because this is a party. So we want to have a good atmosphere. And we have a lot of Christian artists that can come out through Team Salvation, which is run by Reginald Blank. So we have artists like Ricky Bradford, who's one of the most outstanding Christian artists with a powerful testimony in the community now that can relate to a lot of the gangs and the drugs and people like that. But we also have people that have never been on drugs come out and minister. Why? Because we want not only you to get the testimony of myself that God delivered me, but we want you to know that there are people that have gone through their entire life, become adults who never got involved in drugs and are very successful. We've had judges come out. We've had attorneys come out. We've had pastors come out. So God is aligning us with a large community of people that can bring a total sphere of what the children can enhance. And then on top of that, we reward them with various tickets to sporting outlets.
I've seen that.
Right.
And what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back. But I noticed that this is a non-profit, and you all goes into your pocket to furnish this program.
Yes, we do.
So we'll be right back with more information with Mr. and Mrs. Roulack. And we're back with This Is My Story, and our special guest, Mr. and Mrs. Roulack, with I Am Drug Free, which is a ministry that's geared toward children. And they're doing a fantastic job here in Houston. They also go into their own pocket for this ministry. So if someone would like to volunteer their services to see how they would like to be more involved in I Am Drug Free, what number would they need to call?
Well, the number to contact us is 832-896-3455. That will get directly to me, 832-896-3455.
Okay. And also, you would know when they are going to different community centers, going to church, so that your children may be in that area where, like 5 minutes down the block, because they go all over Houston, which is fantastic. They're in Pearland, they're in Missouri City. You know, Houston is huge. They're in Katy. They go into the smallest place, maybe even if they have to serve 10 or 15 kids. So big, smaller, and different, it doesn't matter. And also, you guys just did a program this Saturday for Christmas.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit more about I Am Drug Free.
Well, one of the interesting things that you were talking about the locations, and we've discovered something that, you know, we go into the inner city, which is what we are predominantly focused on. But we've made a decision that we're going to go into the suburbs as well, because we understand that drugs are not discriminatory.
That's right.
They don't just deal with the inner city kids. As a matter of fact, you may not believe this, but there are a lot of drugs out in the suburbs that you don't hear about. And that's unfortunate, because those kids may not be getting the type of attention that they need, negative or positive, to keep them on a straight and narrow. And that's why now you're seeing a lot of the wealthier kids on these shows where they've got to go to rehab because they don't have the structure. So next year we're really planning on in the second half of the year going into the suburbs. We'd love to travel wherever anyone would have us though.
And kids sell kids drugs too. So I noticed that you all are planning to go into the different schools, because if one child has been introduced into drugs, they usually introduce it into another child to get them on it because they don't want to feel isolated. And I was reading a article in my book out of one of my psychology classes at Texas Southern University, and I was studying why a good kid goes bad. They know better, but they don't feel good about being good. And I was going, do we have a problem with being good? And they do have a problem with being good. So, like you said, let us reward them for being good. Let them know you can party too. You can party for Jesus too. You don't need drugs to get a high. You can be on a high all by yourself with other kids. So that is, I can relate to that. And I understand why kids want to go out and become bad because this is how they get attention. But if you bring the attention to them and let them know that you can party without drugs, then they can pass this on when they become adults to their kids. So getting it into them really, really early is very important. A lot of times as parents, we fall back, we slack with educating our kids. We want to educate them once they get on drugs. Okay, now you have a problem because the first thing they're going to say is, well, all the evidence was around here, but you wasn't paying any attention to me.
One of the interesting things you said, you hit on a key point, and we found that most parents don't ask their kids, are you on drugs? The first thing we want to teach the parents, because with the kids being from 5 to 13, we invite the parents to come out with them, so they get a taste of the I Am Drug-Free program as well. We tell the parents, ask your kids, are you on drugs? Because if you ask them, they're going to answer. Now, whether they tell the truth or not, they know that you're concerned. They know that you're asking them. But if you never ask them, they may slip right through the cracks because you, as a parent, it starts at home. That's the first thing. It starts at home.
Define drugs for me, because some people think that hardcore drugs, cocaine is drugs, but you can have all types of drugs. Alcohol is a drug. Marijuana is a drug. Prescription, somebody else's prescription is drug. Under the influence, if you drink a little bit too much cough syrup, that becomes a drug. So explain that a little bit more.
Well, I have a master's degree in social work, and I've done some research on the latest drugs, and there are some drugs out there that we're just overlooking. Matter of fact, at the which is our corner store, you can pick up an energy drink which has about 3% cocaine.
No.
The caffeine levels are so high. There's a 14-year-old girl recently in the news that went comatose from drinking an energy drink, and that
see what I'm talking about?
Yes, the caffeine levels are so high that these kids are using it as, getting.
And it's not being monitored.
Yes, it's not being monitored. So we try to educate him about the normal things that's on the streets also.
One of the things that she introduced to me was there was this chewing gum. There was a content of alcohol in some of the chewing gums that's out
Wow.
there. Because of the drug activity I had issues with my heart. So now I have to eat right. So what it taught me to do is to turn the back of everything that I purchased and read what's on the label. If you turn over everything that you're purchasing for your kid, it's going to give you information about what's in that content of that.
Yes.
Believe it or not, if alcohol is in it, it's going to be on the back of it. So you just have to be aware of what to do, because some of these things you won't know have drugs and alcohol in it. You say, well, what are drugs? It's a hard stand to say that alcohol is a drug. It's a hard stand to say that cigarettes are a drug, because they're all legal. And we don't think of terms of legal drugs being harmful, but we know that alcohol is one of the drugs that kill more people than any other drug that's out there, yet it's legal.
Wow.
So the fight against that war is very hard, yet we have to get the information to the kids at least and let them know the harmful effects of doing alcohol. Most kids will do it because they have no other way of doing it. When I came up, when we went to a party, there was always drugs. There was always alcohol.
Right there in front of you.
So what we're trying to do now is to have parties and influence other kids to have parties where there's no drugs and alcohol, and they can have fun. This will begin to grow into them as they grow up. And when they get to the age of 14, they don't have to have a party and have alcohol and drugs just because somebody else is doing it, and know how to have clean fun. So that's one of the biggest purposes. Another thing is the children that's in the churches, like my wife was saying, we want to be able to allow them an outlet to come out into the community and present their talents and their gifts to the other kids. So what we like is to see kids ministering to kids.
To kids.
Yes.
One of the biggest things about the I Am program is the name I Am. Now, a lot of the Christian community knows the name of the Father.
Right.
Our Father in heaven. His name is I Am. Interesting enough, there's not a religious denomination or non-denomination does not accept the name I Am.
Wow.
So we teach them the name I Am as being the Father.
Okay.
Now, being a Christian, we teach them the way to the Father is Jesus Christ. But I Am is the standard by which we tell them when you have an issue, you can call on that name, I Am. When your parents are not around, when you can't find a police officer, when there's not a friend around, there's still somebody that'll always be next to you, and his name is I Am. That's one of the foundational principles of what we do with the I Am Drug-Free program.
And I noticed that whenever I go to fill up my tank for gas, I walk in and I like to have a soda. Well, when you look into the glass case, sometimes I can't find my soda because it's so much beer.
Yes.
Right there. I'm going like, nah, and you have this section for a soda and all this section. So it's a subliminal message that's going around too about the alcohol.
Which brings me to why we say I am drug free. We have the kids rehearse this loud. I am drug free because it gets down way down
Deep down
in their heart.
soul.
And the Bible says if you confess whatever you confess, it brings possession. So we have them just scream it out loud. I am drug free. And they become a part of what they're saying.
That's right. That's right.
And that makes a big difference. You hit another point when you said subliminal message. And society, you would think society plays a very important role, or peer pressure plays a very important role.
Peer pressure.
What we found is society as a whole is playing a larger role. There's so many negative things. When you turn on the television, count them. How many negative things you see opposed to positive things.
That's right.
One of the bigger goals that we have is to instill in society the positive side of what we call the war on drugs. Right now, America is legalizing marijuana. Just like in the Prohibition days when they began to legalize alcohol. And there were so many groups that was for it. You know, income is one thing that persuades a lot of votes and influences in America. We're not concerned about income. We're concerned about the souls of these children and their lives in the future. And if we don't take a stand now, a lot of kids are going to get influenced by the money, about the negatives.
About the
and like
money.
you said, you walk into a grocery store and all you see is alcohol. Well, what if you walk in the store and didn't see one? There are grocery stores that will not sell alcohol because they're taking a stand. We want to see more of that develop. But one of the biggest things is we're not against what society is doing. We can't change the whole world.
Right.
But the part of the world that we can change, we're going to change by influencing that part of the world with the positive side of the war on drugs. We take it so very seriously. We don't do any drugs. We don't smoke. We don't do any alcohol. And there's so many dangerous drugs. Like the marijuana scene right now, they got these synthetic drugs that's literally laced with all type of chemicals that are taking the kids down even quicker. Because marijuana, they were saying itself is an innocent thing. The problem is you don't know what kind of marijuana you're getting.
These days. I know I used to drive school buses, and the kids used to get on them going like, you can't get on my bus smelling like that. I said, no. And it smells like a skunk.
Yes.
And I said, how can people not smell this odor? Because it is so loud. And I like to drive with my car window down, but their smoke is coming into my car, and I'm going like, oh, hurry up. Let me roll it up. I was thinking about is that kids, just teaching them not to do drugs. They get caught up with the bling bling. They listen to the music and they figure, and I have heard this so many times by young men, 13 or 14, oh, I can just sell drug and make me some money. I don't have to work at a fast food exchange. And I'm going, and I have ministered to them. I'm a Sunday school teacher, so I ministered to, no, you don't want to do that. I don't know if you were just saying it to get attention or or this is what you want to do. But as my kids was growing up, I went into their room. Time they went off to school. Bye, honey. Let's see what's here. Let's see what's there.
Yes.
And they didn't like it.
Yes,
But
yes,
you have to stay abrupt with your children. So as you guys are ministering to the kids, then also I noticed that you're ministering to the parents too, because they have to be on top of things with their kids.
Yes.
I see that time is running out for us.
Yes.
So if you guys want to say anything real quick to the studio audience.
One of the things that we will do with the kids is this. Every drug dealer that you see usually wind up in jail. It's not too many people that work at McDonald's wind up in jail. So the outcome is not what you're going to end up with. You start out, with the bling bling, but you end up in jail. So what happened to your bling bling? You might start out at McDonald's, but then you own McDonald's. We bring bankers to the I Am Drug Free program. We tell the kids to start opening their bank accounts. We say to them, if you get a bank account now, by the time you get 18, if you put money in there every week, why are you selling drugs? You are paid. Right. The only thing that I want to say to the kids is stay drug free. Do 2 things every day. Go to 2 of your friends and ask them. If you're drug free, ask 2 of your friends every day, are you drug free and do you know Jesus?
Amen.
So we just love the kids. We love the community. If you need us to come out to your community, we're more than happy to come out to your community. We'll do whatever it takes to get to the community. It doesn't matter where it's at. We'll go anywhere. It doesn't care if it's in the places where the gunshots are at or if it's in the player where everything looks nice and rich. Yes. We will come out and try to help your kids.
And we're after that one kid. We're not after a great number of kids. We're after that one kid.
Okay, thank you so much. And if you don't remember anything else, remember, I am drug free. And that's for everybody, not just for the kids. And thank you so much for coming by.